I don't know. Are the Argonauts at least good at this?
I can already feel the comment number rising on our video.
Are the Argonauts at least good, or do they even exist anymore?
I don't know. They don't play here. There was one person when I was getting on the media elevator who goes, "Man, that was a Maple Leafs loss right there." Right. Hello and welcome back to Dodgers Debate. I am Jack Harris, along with my Game 7 bound columnist Dylan Hernandez. There will be one more game left in this Dodgers season because the Dodgers somehow won Game 6 tonight, 3-1 over the Blue Jays. They made it really dicey at the end. But Kike Hernandez turns a crazy double play. It's like the fifth different play this postseason where I've been like, I can't believe I just saw that. And it sets up the first Game 7 in a World Series since 2019. It keeps the Dodgers season alive. And, I mean, this was the kind of game yesterday at the workout. You know, Dave Roberts, the players, pregame today, same thing. They talked about, look, we're struggling offensively. We're not playing the way we want to the last couple games. We just got to come out here and fight. And that is kind of what tonight felt like in a lot of different ways, from the offense to the pitching to obviously the defense at the end.
Yeah, you know, it reminded me a little bit of those, like, you know, aggregate goal, two-game things they do in soccer, right? Where where you're not just kind of playing the game, you're kind of playing the long game a bit, right? And from that standpoint, you know, I mean, kind of the gutsy move I thought that Roberts made was to go to Robleski there in the seventh, right? It's like, okay, Yamamoto is fading. That said, you know, every time they've kind of gone to the pen, it's gone bad. Now it's gone bad because there have been guys on base because they kind of try to push the starter kind of past that point. Right. And so he kind of preemptively said, you know what, let's give Robleski a clean inning. Right. I'm not sure that is a guy I necessarily would have
what are you talking about? Easy zero on the scoreboard. Great move.
Wagered my season on.
And no one was upset to see Yamamoto out shy of 100 pitches.
I mean, that being said, right, I mean, you know, the fact that like Sasaki couldn't get through the end of the game and had to use glass now might have a bit of an effect here.
It adds another variable.
Yeah, and so this makes Game 7, I think, fascinating, right? Because I think, you know, probably it makes most sense for Ohtani to be the opener. So I did check with Major League Baseball about this, right? Because we were discussing about this. What would happen, say, if they used Ohtani as a closer and he's warming up in the bullpen and all of a sudden his turn to bat comes up? Well, there's no pausing of the pitch clock. He's got however many seconds to get down there.
He's just sprinting down the left field line. I'll take strike one. I don't care.
So that doesn't seem very practical. So my guess now is
could they just take an automatic strikeout if 3 straight pitch clock violations?
I guess you would, right? But I think obviously the kind of the most practical thing now, especially in light of Glass now having pitched now, is for Ohtani to be the opener. You know, now the question is, how long is he going to go? You know, as I'm kind of sitting here right now, I kind of think, given like Ohtani's kind of penchant for over delivering, you know, because we're kind of sitting, is it going to be like 1 inning, 2 innings? I think it's going to be
more than that.
I think it's going to be kind of closer to the 4 to 5 range, right? And then you kind of turn the game over to, you know, Glass now and Snell perhaps, and maybe Sasaki.
Blake Snell had a big smile in his clubhouse, or in the clubhouse just now. See you tomorrow.
Yamamoto didn't exactly sound like he wanted to pitch. You know, he was talking. Somebody brought up something about
Dave Roberts said he's the one guy who would be down.
He is, although we've heard that before, right? We've heard him say that about Kershaw. I'm sure if they asked him to, or if he sensed that, hey, they need me, he'll be the first guy down there.
Again.
You know, but he did kind of say, yeah, you know, it's going to be really stressful for the players who play, you know, and he kind of laughed.
Right.
So I don't, you know, I mean, we'll see about that again, I think, if he has to. You know, and even like that 18-inning game, right? We saw he was joking around on the bench a lot. And, you know, kind of the way his interpreter described it is that all of a sudden, when it hit him that he might have to pitch, he said his face just changed into like like it is on the days that he starts.
Right.
So,
all right, let's go back to the beginning of this one, because the big story coming into the night was the offense. Mookie Betts gets put in the cleanup spot. Miguel Rojas comes into the lineup. He didn't have a hit, but he made 4 huge defensive plays, including a pick on that Kike Hernandez throw at the end. You know, this is the offensive game plan tonight to me was very interesting, because pre-game, both Miguel Rojas and Teoscar Hernandez talked about, you know what, we can't be afraid of failure. We got to go up there. If you take a bad swing, if you swing and miss at a pitch, like, you got to move on to the next one. And really what it preempted was just a super aggressive game plan that the Dodgers threw out there, which was interesting to me because they were passive against Trey Savage in Game 5. Tonight it looked like, you know what, we're going to go up there, we're going to get our swings off. And if we swing and miss at 20 splitters, which they did, whatever, the ones that we get over the plate, we want to make sure we're ready to do damage on. And they did do that in the third inning. And I thought it was interesting for them to, again, we've been talking about they had kind of no discernible approach in the past, or one that they couldn't adjust out of. Tonight, at least, they went out there, they did something that leads to a 3-run inning. It all culminates with Mookie Betts, who had a better day on Thursday during the workout. Like, people made a point of saying, hey, look, he looked good in his BP. We think he's in a good headspace. Dave Roberts said his mechanics looked as good as they've been this whole series. He comes up with the big hit that finally gives them the big inning, right? And in these kind of games, an elimination game, a Game 7 tomorrow, like, it comes down to, like, who can put a bigger crooked number on the scoreboard, which is what the Dodgers did. And then it gives Yamamoto breathing room the rest of his start. It puts the Blue Jays under pressure. And that's the kind of thing that I think if you're looking at the offense, because overall it still wasn't great. They had a huge missed opportunity in the 8th, stranding the bases loaded. But if you're looking at something to kind of feel positive about, I think, offensively going into tomorrow, it's that they had a plan tonight, they executed it, and then in the one moment where they really needed that big hit, even somebody who was struggling as much as Mookie Betts delivered it.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about the offense going into tomorrow?
I don't.
The Blue
I'm
Jays,
not I guess I get right because I was around in 21. I guess I'm not a big Max Scherzer believer.
Right. He will start.
And so
it's probably going to be patchwork.
Right. So if it's Ohtani, Scherzer, I will bet on Ohtani every time.
Right. That's an interesting way to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Shane Bieber probably factors in for the Blue Jays.
And the Dodgers are going to kind of have their assembly line of guys out there too. Try to stay away from kind of like your normal quote unquote relievers.
Right.
Lean as much on the starters as you can, but. Again, it could have been a little bit better, I think, if Glasnow hadn't had to pitch, but he did. That said, it was only 3 pitches, so it could have been worse. You are a little bit worried about Sasaki.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you next, is seeing that, you figure he's probably going to have to be part of the plan tomorrow now, because you look at how to put together 9 innings, unless you get a lot of length from Ohtani and Snell and unless all those guys can basically pitch 3 innings without a lot of trouble, he's probably going to have to factor in. And it looked a little shaky.
And that's why, kind of earlier, right, I said, I'm kind of thinking for Ohtani, don't be shocked if he goes 5, man. I know that's pushing it a little bit.
It
but,
could be
but I think,
an efficient 5.
Right, but if he knows that that's kind of what's needed. Because I think if it's 1 inning and you're telling Sasaki, you know what, just take the ball and just throw the crap out of it.
Right.
I think it's right, because even that, right,
he did get out of the 8th.
The 8th, right, it was a 25-pitch inning. It was fairly laborious. Guys got on base, but he got out of it, right? I think if it's just 1 inning, right, even if it doesn't look necessarily clean, I think he can get out of it. 2 innings, that's where I think you start to worry a little bit, right? The stuff starts to kind of go a little bit. The splitters maybe, right?
You saw tonight, like that 9th inning starts because he gets Alejandro Kirk in an 0-2 count, and then the splitter slips out of his hand, he hits him, and then he's got a bad matchup against Addison Barger. Right. I think we both kind of felt, over the course of this month, Sasaki's stuff has started tailing off. Right. You figured that, okay, maybe 1 or 2 innings at some point this weekend he would be okay. But now if you have to use him back-to-back, like it's very easy that a big moment of tomorrow's game could come down to him, and it'll be interesting to see how he responds, especially in what would be like after a night like tonight that probably didn't go as well as he wants in a Game 7. Like, that's the kind of thing, like, guys either rise up and maybe he comes out and is hitting 101, 102 because he's just got, like, the juice to do it, or it goes the other way, which will be interesting to see.
And again, I really, for his sake, right, you want to see him in a 1-inning situation just because I do think if it's an inning, because one thing that I think has kind of happened over the course of this postseason is he's gained, like, some aura, right, where opposing teams now see, oh my God, it's Roki Sasaki. And even if he's 98, right, 97, 98 instead of like 100, 101, he's still getting guys out because I think, right, and we see guys making base running mistakes when he's there because I think they feel they have to force the issue.
I think that's what you saw in the 8th. It's like even when the 2 guys got on base, he could still come back, pound the zone, snap the splitter off, and it's still a tough at-bat even if his stuff's not completely playing out. All right, the end of the game.
Well, let's start. We've got to start with Justin Dean. Right.
Okay.
I know that's the rule, but like the guts that took to just stand there.
Well, kind of. So he kind of just stood there.
Right.
So the ball gets wedged.
Right.
And I I have not dug back through the rule book on this yet, but I was asking people in the Dodger clubhouse, like, what is the rule here and what are you guys taught? If the ball is clearly wedged, you let it be. Because if the umpire comes over, sees that it's wedged, it's a ground rule double, which is what happened here. But
and 2 bases automatic.
2 bases
for the
automatic.
runner. It doesn't matter where the runner is.
The lead runner?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It's like same as a ground rule double play. Which, to be fair, in the grand scheme, like if that ball just hits off the wall normally, it's probably just a double.
You don't think the guy scores though?
I mean, the guy might score,
and then I think that changes the later innings though.
I don't know. I was
think it
thinking
changes.
about this.
I think it changes
because Barger's still going to be trying to score. Like he's still going to be getting that big jump on the next ball that's hit. So I don't actually know if it changes a ton. But the key part is, and I need to go back and look. I have not looked at the all 9 camera yet. But like if the umpire doesn't make a call, which I think the umpire down the left field line did immediately kind of make the call, but if he doesn't, and then you go and play the ball before the umpire determines that it's a ground rule double, that the ball is wedged, if you go and play it, then it could be a live ball. And one interesting thing, I asked Michael Conforto in the clubhouse, what are you guys taught on that play? And he said, it's tricky because you have to know it's wedged, and if you have any doubt, you've got to go play it. He was with Bob Guerin with the New York Mets in spring training in 2015 when Yoenis Cespedes did not play a ball that he thought was wedged, and then the umpire came out and rolled it off the wall and said, no, this ball is not wedged, and it was an inside the park home run. So Conforto said that Guerin always tells him, like, you play it out unless you're certain it's in the wall. And I'll give credit to, yes, Justin Dean for stopping it, but also Kike Hernandez, who immediately also came over, even before Justin Dean is throwing his hands up saying, don't play it, don't play it. Kike said afterwards, like, I wanted my hands up so that if Justin did play it, we were clearly kind of making a thing, like a scene that it's in the wall. And really what that hits on to me is a guy in left field, and Kike Hernandez, who's played more postseason games than any Dodger ever, who has more experience in these moments than just about any active big leaguer, especially playing different spots on the field. And that instinct is then what helps him turn the next play that ends the game. He says the ball gets hit. It was Andrés Giménez who hits the ball. He said that it was just quiet enough when the pitch was thrown, because this place was really loud for a lot of that 9th inning. But on that pitch, there was just enough tension, because it was right after the pop-up, that he could hear Giménez's bat break, which let him know, okay, because like on the swing, the way he took a big swing, the way the ball goes, you're probably drifting back on that initially. But he hears the bat break. Then the ball, as he's coming in on it, gets lost in the lights on him. The way the lights are here, he said it gets lost in the lights. I asked him, like, do you go into panic mode when that happens? He's like, when the World Series is on the line, you could, what was his quote? When the World Series is on the line, I was willing to get hit in the face. So he just kind of drifts to where he thinks the ball is going to be, instincts. He said he could feel Addison Barger drifting off of second base. And I asked him, like, what do you mean by feel? And he goes, when you play out there, you just kind of know from your periphery and having the play in front of you, you can just kind of feel where guys are. So he can get there, position himself to catch it, and immediately, because there's a runner on third there. Like, he could catch it and come up and be thinking it to go home and then be like, oh, I got to actually go to second, seeing Barger's off the bag. But because he felt him off the bag, he catches the ball, and one motion gets the throw there. And then Miguel Rojas, who made just a ton of huge defensive plays tonight, with a crazy pick where the ball's like going behind his leg. And the way, like the game ending that way, we talk about pressure and momentum swings and who feels it more, especially in a Game 7, for the Blue Jays to lose this game that way. At least I think for the rest of tonight and going into tomorrow, puts a really bad feeling in your stomach, I think, if you're on the Blue Jays or if you're a Blue Jays fan, because it's like, man, the Dodgers were going to lose this game.
Right.
Like, we're up there. I'm panic rewriting my story. You had been telling me all night, hey, man, get your lost story ready. Like, I've seen this before. Like, Matt Stairs flashbacks going off in your head. And they were going to lose that game. Right. But credit to Tyler Glasnow, comes into like the kind of spot I don't think many people would have trusted in him in for a lot of his Dodger tenure. Credit to Kike Hernandez for making a heads-up veteran play. We've seen a lot of crazy plays this postseason. Is that like the craziest sequence we've had so far? I mean, we got Orion Kirkering throwing the ball away. We got a grand slam coming off the board on another crazy double play.
Yeah, I mean, boy. Yeah, I don't know. It's got to be up there, though. I mean, I think it's just kind of the shock that went through the stadium, right? And I'll say this, right? That the Dodger Stadium, I thought, in Game 5, yeah, the crowd was not as lively, I feel.
Game 4 was bad. Game 5, I actually thought, like, before first pitch, they were ready to go, and then 2 balls go over the fence, and the balloon kind of, the air went out of the balloon.
But I think that's what you've kind of done, right? When you start putting doubts into the heads of a fan base, right? And look, in the Dodgers, I think part of the reason, right, that the crowd is so as boisterous as it is on most days is because they've seen their team win. Right. This here is a franchise, loser franchise.
Oh boy.
Loser city.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Are the Argonauts at least good?
I can already feel the comment number rising on our video.
Are the Argonauts at least good, or do they even exist anymore?
I don't know. They don't play here. There was one person when I was getting on the media elevator who goes, "Man, that was a Maple Leafs loss right there."
Right.
Like,
I mean, their one championship here recently was like a Kawhi Leonard rental thing. Wasn't really even theirs, I don't feel, right?
If only they could have kept him with some, some methods.
Right, yeah, then they lost. They got out-cheated. Lost Kawhi. Allegedly. So I think that, if I'm, because, flying out here, actually, right, I was sitting next to this, like, one Blue Jays fan who actually lives out in San Francisco. He went out to the...
Did he ask you why you've been calling him Fatty Blatty?
He did not. I don't think he was aware of Dodgers debate until I told him about it. But
he's in for a surprise.
Right? I mean, but like the cheapest ticket today was like $2,000, right? This is like a really, really big deal here.
I was on the elevator with someone in my hotel who said they paid $18,000 for a ticket, which that's a car, bro.
Yeah, and so this is like a really, really, really big deal here, right? This is like, like Haley's Comet for this city, right? They never win here. So, I think that like if the Dodgers can get it on the scoreboard first, and it's really weird. What's interesting is like, you'll especially hear the Japanese players talk a lot about this, is scoring first and the importance of scoring first,
The Dodgers I'm not first in all but one game of this series.
Yeah. And I don't totally buy it, but I think given, again, the way this game ended, scoring first will make a huge difference we saw it in San Diego, right? We saw it in San Diego last year when as soon as like something starts going bad over there, they start thinking back of all their civic trauma and the air is just taken out of the place. And I don't know what could have been more traumatic than that ending tonight.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because it's Halloween here, right? It turned into like a horror night for them.
A good one. All right, you want to make a pick for tomorrow?
Yes, Dodgers, and I think Ohtani is going to go 5, and I think he's going to hit a home run. He's going to win he'll swipe the MVP again.
This is, it is set up to be an Ohtani game. It is, that is crazy just to think about, to take a step back, that you're going to get Ohtani on the mound in some form in a Game 7 of a World Series, heroically on short rest, and all the narratives that'll go into that. And we will be here after to recap it all. Another crazy game, one more to go. Thanks for following along to this point, and we'll see you tomorrow night.